Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. For the old man's waiting for to carry you to freedom. Follow the drinking gourd.
Follow the drinking gourd. Follow
The drinking gourd.
Zora Neale Hurston.
William Stetson Kennedy. Stetson Kennedy was born in Jacksonville, Florida in 1960. In 1935, the Federal Writers Project was created to record the oral history of ex-slaves. In the 1930s, an estimated 100,000 former slaves were still alive in the United States who could describe what slavery was like from the slaves' point of view. The folklorist and author Stetson Kennedy served as Director of Ethnic Studies for the Florida Division of the Federal Writers Project.
Zora Neale Hurston was the supervisor for the Negro unit of the Florida Project. The Negro unit was located in Jacksonville at the Clara White Mission on Ashley Street.
Kennedy's books, The Florida Slave and Palmetto Country, are a collection of those oral histories of ex-slaves living in Florida. The collection relates to the ex-slaves' hardships under the system of slavery, the abuses of their civil and human rights in the aftermath of Reconstruction, and their strength to survive and make contributions to American culture. These narratives include folklore and black superheroes.
The folk of the Palmetto Country created a full share of legendary heroes of colossal proportions. They are all cut from the same heroic cloth as America's #1 lumberjack, Paul Bunyan, and that steel-driving man, John Henry. All follow the same universal pattern for folk heroes, which set the style for such immortals as Ulysses and Jack the Giant Killer. Many of these characters actually lived and breathed, performing exceptional feats which served to start their legendary counterparts on their astounding careers.
Introducing the Black Superheroes. Daddy mentioned the strongest man in Polk County was a part of Lakeland County, Florida. Uncle Monday, he shapeshifts from human to alligator. Then there's Princess Kitaka. She is an amalgamation of strong real-life heroines in the slave narratives, such as Anna Kingsley, who was thought to be a Senegalese princess. John the Conqueror, contested clairvoyant. Roy and the Black Falcon. He was a master mechanic and a genius of technology. And then there's Big Mama Gertrude. From slavery to today, she embodies the black woman who takes care of the children while mothers and fathers worked in the fields. Turpentine Sam, leader of the Turpentiners. Abada the Warrior, an amalgamation of strong Mandingo-style fighters, such as Tom Molyneux, who was a bare-knuckle boxer who was the first black American to compete for the heavyweight championship when he fought the white champion Tom Cribb in England in 1810.
And then there's Mama Duck. She's the derivation of the ex-slave. Mama Duck, known for her memory, storytelling, and constant talking. And also 9 Second Man, the fastest runner in Bullock County, Georgia.
And for our villain, we have Windrak the Dragon, symbolized for some of the derived villains such as slavery, Jim Crow laws, and the Ku Klux Klan.
One thing stands out glaringly in Negro folktales. The Negro is determined to laugh, even if he has to laugh at his own expense. His boatman, his woman, his preacher, his jailer, even his God, and himself must all be baptized in the stream of laughter. He tried to dissolve his whole world of troubles in laughter.
garage down in Orange County, Florida. Everybody knows he's the best mechanic ever lived.
Now, he never could find a ready-made car that quite could suit him. So one day he said he was going to make one of his own. He said he was going to make a collision-proof car.
So I went in my garage and got out all my tools and I went to work. After a while, I was ready to demonstrate my super deluxe, freewheeling, supercharged car.
Floating power, synchro mesh, wizard control.
Auto clutch, no draft, knee action.
Turret top, golden ply, self-starting, collision-proof car.
One after another, people tried to run into me. But I would just press a button and my car would squat down and run right under the other cars. You just couldn't hit me, not one bit.
Now, they even tried these big old Mack trucks, but it ran under them too. Then somebody went and got a Buick, and they bet him he couldn't run under no undersung Buick. But Roy showed him.
Then finally, Roy drove his car all the way up north and sold it for a whole lot of money. Then he came on back home.
But after a while, Roy got tired of just sitting around the garage. So he made himself another car.
Now this time, I made a car with wings folded on top, so I could take off and fly over the top of any car that tried to run into me. It wasn't long before I got so I like flying better than driving.
And that's how he come to get rid of that car. You see, one day, Roy was way up in heaven doing the loop-de-loop. God was watching him, and God liked this car so much, he bought it off paid cash.
God started creating models just like that car for the angels. Ever since then, the angels ain't flew a lick, even with their own wings.
Now, Roy's back in his garage, working on something else. Lord knows what it'll be this time. Ain't no telling what Roy's gonna make next.
Although now, some people say he gonna call that nigga car Black Falcon, and it's gonna be able to fly just like that other car. They say, child, they say this car gonna be able to talk now. I don't know about all that, but you never know with Roy.
In his native Africa, Uncle Monday was a big-time medicine man. He was captured and brought to America as a slave, but he soon escaped and made his way from South Carolina and Georgia down into the Indian Territory of Florida, where he settled near Maitland, Florida.
There, Uncle Monday made medicine among the Seminoles and the Negro allies called the Maroons. Now, the Maroons were African refugees who escaped slavery in the Americas, as well as their descendants, and they formed these independent settlements. When the white man drove the tribes deeper and deeper into the peninsula, Uncle Monday rallied the warriors on the shores of Lake Media. He said he'd never submit to slavery or death at the hands of the whites.
Then Uncle Monday said he would change himself into an alligator and join his brother Saurians, which are the alligator people, into the blue sink until the wars were over. Then he would come forth from the lake and walk the land in peace.
So the Saurians held a ceremony on the banks of the Blue Sink. As the men beat rhythms on their drums, I danced. As I danced, my face grew long. My arms and my legs grew shorter. My skin grew thick and scaly. And my voice changed to thunder.
From the Blue Sink River came an answering roar, deep-throated bellows, and 1,000 gators swept up from the lake, formed like a double car. Uncle Monday was the biggest gator of them all. He marched majestically through their ranks and slid into the Blue Sink with a mighty roar, and all the other gators plunged in after him.
And that's how Uncle Monday changed himself into an alligator. And he still lives in the blue sink today. But every now and then he changes himself back into a man and walks through the countryside. But he always changes himself into a gator again and returns to the blue sink.
And when he does, all the other gators keep up an all-night bellowing. And folks in the village can hear them and say with a sigh of relief, Uncle Monday's gone back into the blue sink.
If you hold my hand, I will take you away. My heartbeats like a true.
Now, Big Mama, she was a superhero too. She was the one who always swoops in and takes care of whatever needs to be taken care of. Big Mama goes all the way back into slavery time, even to today.
And you's her baby, even if you ain't blood. We's all one big family. You see, during slavery time, Big Mama, she took care of the whole household. She took care of the children and the problems that came up, and while all the mothers and fathers were working in the fields.
Now you children stop running around this house before I take a switch to all of you. Lord, baby, what happened to you? Did I beat you?
Master Son say I have no right to talk back to him.
Boy, baby, you're just like your mama. Always going on at the mouth. Come on over here to Big Mama. Now, I know no one ever told you, but your mama Rebecca was born right here in Jones County, Georgia, as a slave of Master William Lowe. Your mama looked just like one of Master Lowe's daughters. Master Lowe's wife and children hated that. But what everybody didn't know is that Master Lowe's son was Rebecca's daddy. That's your mama. So Master Lowe's daughter looked just like Rebecca, was really her aunt. Both Rebecca and her aunt looked just alike. They both had brown eyes and long dark hair, and they was about the same height too. And the clothes of the young mistress fitted Rebecca just like a glove. So, you see, so that they wouldn't look so much alike, Master Wife would cut Rebecca's hair short. But finally Rebecca told him, "You're not never cutting my hair low again." Now your mama didn't feel whatever punishment they gave her. But now she always made sure to stay on the good side of Master Lowe. Master Lowe loved Rebecca because she looked just like one of his own children.
William, you have got to get rid of that girl. She is obstinate and mean, and she does whatever she wants to do in this house.
Now, dear, Rebecca's just a child. You know she can't help it. That's that cursed Cherokee blood in her.
So you still not gonna do nothing about it? You just gonna keep treating these Negroes like she one of your own children and let her keep talking to me and my children that kind of way? Just get away from me, William.
So, you see, baby, you got to be careful about what you say, because there's a lot of hurt, jealousy in this family.
I understand.
Come on, child. Your big mama clean you up.
They call him the 9-second man. No, not because of that. You see, everybody in South Georgia knows that Josh's nephew is the fastest runner in Bullock County. He went all the foot races and the carnivals and the county fair. He'd always take home all the prizes, and everybody started calling him the nine.
Wait. Don't tell. I'll tell you why they call me 9 in a little bit. But first, let me tell you, whenever I got running good, I could jump over trees, palmettos, briar bushes, like a scared buck deer. I'm telling you, tell you a story you ain't gonna believe, but it's the truth.
And I see one morning about sunup, Paul was taking his Paul's saddle horse out to the pasture. Somehow or another, 9 left the gate open. And Lightning, see that was the horse's name, slipped through and lit out down the road towards a town called Register. 9 knew his paw was gonna beat him good if Lightning got lost.
So let me tell you something. I took a shortcut that came out about a mile down the road. But when I came to the crossing, Lightning wasn't anywhere in sight. So I started to run down the road to the town of Register to see if I could catch him.
Now, Register is like 30 miles away, and now he didn't get there until about 10 o'clock in the morning. So he asked his Uncle Josh at the general store if he'd seen Lightning come through town, but he said he didn't. Then, Nye went into this bar, and he had himself a good shot of whiskey. And all of a sudden, he heard this rumpus. And when he looked down Main Street, there was Lightning. He was sweating and heaving like he was about to drop.
And believe it or not, I had passed him by taking the shortcut and been running ahead of him all the time, all the way to Register. That afternoon, I backtracked to home, and Pa never could understand why Lightning was so tuckered out after a day in the pasture.
Now, last summer, I went to a picnic at the beach. When it was time to have the running races, another fella started bragging that he was the 10-second man. That means that he could run 100 yards in 10 seconds.
But see, no one had ever clocked Josh's nephew, so he didn't know how fast a 10-second man was. So Josh's nephew challenged the other guy to a race.
Now, I have to give it to that other guy. He was a naturally born runner. I didn't pull ahead of him until just before we crossed the finish line. And you know, and that's why they call me the 9-second man.
Now, John the Conqueror, he's another one of those strange superhero stories. John is clairvoyant, and he can uncover people's innermost secrets. But some folks say it's all just a trick, that they don't actually have superpowers to see in the future and read people's minds.
Well, I'm here to say I believe he is clairvoyant. I think he can see into the future. I think he can read people's minds. I don't care what nobody thinks. See, one night, John came to the slave quarters and told us.
Tomorrow, we killing hogs.
How you know that?
I can tell fortunes, that's how.
Then, the next day, the old master come out and told us that there was going to be a hog killing.
Most of us decided right then that John was a fortune teller for truth.
Yeah, but some of us think that John was just at the big house. He was listening to what old master was talking about, and some think that that's how he heard what was going to happen. They say he heard old master say he was going to kill hogs the next day, and John just came on back and told us what he heard old master say.
Well, what about the time mistress lost her ring?
Oh, master, I know where that ring is.
Old master promised John if he could find the ring, he would give him a present of a fine, fat, young pig.
Kill your turkey and you'll find that ring.
At first, old master didn't want to kill his prize goblin. But when he killed the turkey, there was the ring.
Ah! From then on, old master thought John was a fortune teller too.
Yeah, but Pete said that he and John was hanging around the back door of the big house, and that they saw the mistress throw her water out of the wash basin. and they saw her diamond ring in the basin. But before they could pick it up, a turkey gobbled it down. And that's how John knew.
Well, Pete can't even stand John the Conqueror. Pete done lied on John and a whole lot of people in the past. You just can't trust anything he says.
Well, that was about the time that old master was bragging to one of his friends that John could tell fortunes, because we already know he can. Master and his friend bet their whole plantation on whether or not John could tell fortunes. Now, the other betting man, he had the privilege of deciding what the proof was going to be.
So John, he was led away a little while, and then they brought him back and showed him this great big old wash basin pot. And it was turned upside down. They asked him what was under it. John didn't say anything for a long while. Then he said,
You got the old coon.
And then Master threw his head up in the air and let out a old whoop. Everybody was yelling with surprise because that is what was under that pot. A big old coon.
yeah, but even though I can't prove it, I think John didn't know the answer because it took him such a long time to say something. I think when he said, you got the old coon, I think he just gave up and was talking about himself. And it just so happened to be an old raccoon under that pot.
Boy, I tell you. Well, I don't care what you say. John the Conqueror, he can see into the future. And he can uncover people's innermost secret. Hey, I believe in you, John. I do. I really do.
Now, the story of Princess Kataka is an amalgamation of strong real-life heroines in the slave narratives, such as Anna Kingsley, who was thought to be a Senegalese princess.
They call me Princess Kitaka. I was born in Senegal, a West African country. One day, the European slave traders raided my village, and I was kidnapped. My father was killed in the raid. I was taken to the Americas at a plantation near the St. Johns River in Jacksonville, Florida. The plantation had become a fort and a base of operations for rebels. I remember my father told me that in our royal lineage, we are strong and powerful kings and queens. He said, we are conquerors. One night, I decided to set the plantation on fire. I snuck to the plantation house and I found a trunk with combustible items in it.
Princess Kataka set some of the rags in the trunk on fire. This would give her time to run away so that no one would be able to catch her. She started running out of the house and the fire began to grow.
But Kataka became afraid because the fire was not growing fast enough through the plantation. Surely her enemies would find her and put the fire out.
Kataka closed her eyes and took a deep breath. She remembered her father saying,
Remember, child, we are a family of conquerors.
soon after, a flare came out, which grew and reduced the house to ashes. The cannons started firing off by themselves. When the fire reached them,
The fire spread so quickly, Kataka had to jump out of the nearest window. She ran fast as she could. Most of the slaves on the plantation also escaped. The rebels had been completely surprised and was unable to do anything to prevent the fire.
I am conqueror.
Turpentine Sam is a special kind of superhero. He is known as the leader of the Black Turpentiners. He is also a master strategist. Some folks say he even has the power of mind reading and control. But everyone says he's a fair and understanding leader.
Yeah, man, I was born in the turpentine business. I've soaked up so much turpentine in my life that if you were to run me through a still, I think I would get 10 gallons out of it.
His father was a manager of a 20-crop camp near Easton, Georgia, where he was born. Sam started school when he was just 6 years old in a little room log house.
When he was about 10 years old, his family moved to another camp at Martin, and Sam was promoted from waterboy to tallyman. It was his job to keep tally of the number of trees boxed or streaked by each black turpentine. And by 1922, he had a job as a manager of 8 turpentine camps owned by New York companies. Now, black turpentiners are a class all by themselves. They're different from the other town Negroes, the farm laborers, or any other kind. You see, mostly they're born and raised in these camps, and they seldom go to town, and few of them ever saw the inside of a schoolhouse.
Seems like I always had a knack for handling labor. Being born and raised with turpentine black people, I learned their nature.
And all the people like you, because you're firm and you're fair.
And they do anything for them.
If I quit my job and went to another job, every last black turpentiner on the place would follow me if I told them to. That's why in the comic book introducing the black superheroes, Turpentine Sam is telepathic and can control people's minds.
In the comic book introducing the black superheroes, a fighter the warrior is an amalgamation of strong Mandingo-style fighters, such as the real-life Tom Molly.
Now, Tom was a bare-knuckle boxer who was the first black American to compete for the heavyweight championship when it brought the white champion Tom Cribb in England in 1810.
My name's Tom Molly. I was born into slavery on a Virginia plantation in 1784.
Now that Tom Molyneux, his daddy was a fighter. His brothers were fighters. When he go up against the other slaves, he win just about every fight.
Yeah, that's right. His master used to have him fight with other slaves and the plantation owners would bet who would win. See, Tom made his master so much money that his master let Tom win his own freedom.
And after he won his freedom, Tom went to New York and he was looking for work. But fighting was in his blood, so that's what he did. He became known as an amateur champion of America. Tom heard that in England there was this British heavyweight champion named Tom Cribb. So in 1809 he went to England to find that Tom Cribb and fight him for his title.
Here's where Bill Richmond comes in. He was also a freed slave and a fighter from Virginia who moved to England. He was the first person I found a public fighting center of his kind. He heard about me and became my trainer. You see, I was a natural street fighter. Richmond taught me how to use my gift to fight strategically. A natural fighter who could fight scientifically could be unstoppable.
On December 3rd, 1810, the rain was pounding. It was dark, cold, and a muddy day. Yet 10,000 people showed up to that muddy field to see Tom Molyneux, the champion of America, versus Tom Cribb, the British heavyweight champion. Molyneux and Cribb went 35 rounds. The fight was so brutal, one reporter said, the only way you could tell them apart was by the color of their skin. In the end, Cribb was declared the winner. However, many people believe that Molyneux actually won that fight.
Follow the dream, go.
For the old man's waiting for to carry you to freedom. Follow the dream, you can go.
Now just listen. I want to tell you all I can, but I want to tell it the right way. Now, I don't want to make any mistakes, and I don't want to lie on nobody. I'm not mad. Ain't no use to lie. I'm taking my time. Hey, I prayed on it. I got all the malice out of my heart. I ain't gonna tell no lie for 'em, and I ain't gonna tell no lie on 'em.
That's Mama Duck. She talks incessantly.
And talks.
That's right. They call me Mama Duck. Some folks say I do talk a lot, but that's just what they say. So they tend to call me Mama Duck.
It's true. She talks incessantly. And when she does tell you information, it's a lot of this unnecessary details. So they call her Mama Duck.
You know, it's because in introducing the black superheroes, Mama Duck has a photographic memory. That means she can remember the details of anything, and I do mean anything. She sees and hears. That's why she talks incessantly. It's because she has so much on her mind.
Sometimes, people who have photographic memories, not all, but some, have issues filtering details. So that's one of Mama Duck's challenges. When she's telling people things, she sometimes has a problem with filtering information for the most important details.
That's right. See, in the comic book introducing the black superheroes, I get to have a photographic memory. I'm also a master spy. As some folks say, I am fearless. See, I'll let you in on the little secret. Remember when Superman was battling the South? Well, I did some undercover spy work for Superman, Princess Kataka, and Stanton Kennedy. I can't give you too many details because then I'd have to kill you. But I was good at my job.
Daddy Minch was a Negro convict who could outrun the longest shotgun. They had him locked up for vacancies. He tried to tell him he'd be glad to work if only he could find a job.
But you know, a colored man can't say much in Polk County.
They gave Daddy Minch 90 days in Lakeland jail. Daddy Minch set his mind on escaping the town, but they sooner shoot you than go all the trouble trying to catch you. Because even if you got away, the hounds will catch up with you before you even got to Morgan.
See, Daddy Mitch knew he had to have a better plan. He decided to chop a tree down all by himself, and it didn't take but one more man to help him tow it to the pile. Then one day when he was sure Captain was watching him, he picked up that big old tree all by himself and carried it all the way to the pile before he put it down. The captain couldn't hardly believe his own eyes. The captain called the other guards to see Daddy Mitch do that all over again.
So it got to be a regular sign to see Daddy Minch walking around the jail yard with carrying a big old tree in his arms. Everybody was used to seeing it by then.
And that was just what Daddy mentioned was. You see, after supper, most of the captains and guards, they was all around the yard. They watched while Daddy picked up that big old log and put it on his back. He started walking towards the gate with the log on his shoulder. None of the guards didn't bother him, because they never thought a man would try to escape and put a log on his shoulder.
You know, you had to pass the guards' quarters before you get to the gate. But Daddy Minch didn't even turn around when he passed. The guards at the gate must have thought one of the captains had sent Daddy to take the log somewhere or was making a bet or something. Right on out the gate, Daddy Minch went with a log on his shoulder, heading for town.
I just kept that log on my shoulder, and everybody I passed just thought I must have fallen off the truck, and I was carrying it back. Imagine me picking up a log and fall off a truck. They knew nobody would have the nerve to steal a big, good old pine log like that and walk up along the highway with it. So I got to Plant City. I took the log to a wood yard and I sold it. Then I had me enough money to ride to Tampa. Ain't nobody ever gonna catch me in Polk County again. No more.
Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. For the old man's waiting for to carry you to freedom. Follow the drinking gourd. Now the riverbank will make a mighty good road. The dead trees will show you the way. Left foot, right foot, traveling on. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. For the old man's waiting for to carry you to freedom. Follow the drinking gourd. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Just so you'll know, first,